Okay. Hello, people. Sorry I'm not here today. I'm going to try to give you a brief rundown of what we would do together if I was here today. So, hopefully by now you have 2 colors done here. Red, maybe yellow, yellow, maybe blue. 2 at least, hopefully 2.5. That would put you in a really good spot, okay? If you don't have that, you may need to work a little bit quicker today, all right? So these 3, red, yellow, and blue, are our primaries, right? So now what we need to do is mix our secondaries. So you're gonna wanna put a little bit of yellow, a little bit of blue, and a little bit of red down. To get our primaries, all we need to do is mix the 2 right next to each other. So hopefully when you watch all those wonderful games and videos about color, you understand how this is going to work. So yellow with red will make orange, red with blue will make purple, and yellow with blue will make green, okay? So keep in mind some of our pigments are a little bit stronger than others. Yellow's pretty weak, blue is pretty strong, and red is like a medium strong. So when you're mixing, keep that in mind. I'm going to pull up a little bit of red over here. Scoop and scoop it. Scoop it. So I have a pretty good pile. I'm going to stay on one side of my yellow here while I'm scooping. If you feel like you're getting pretty messy, feel free to rinse your brush. That way maybe you're just grabbing more yellow and getting off some of that excess red there. Scoop. Scoop. You're probably going to want a little bit more yellow than you will red on this side. I have way too much red. I'm going to separate some of my red over to make my orange here. Scoop it. Start mixing some of those together. So you can see slowly starting to turn to orange there. Probably a little bit more yellow than red. You don't want too much yellow though, because you don't want it to be that yellow orange that you have to make. It's hard to tell with this camera. Let me flick the light on. It doesn't really help, does it? But this is a pretty basic orange here. I feel like it's not too much on the red side. It's not too much on the yellow side. It's that happy medium orange. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and put that on my grid here. You may want to do 2 coats of your orange. If you like it with just 1, that's fine too. Just becomes a little bit more opaque, a little less transparent if I add 1 more quick coat. So your orange should be going between your red and your yellow, leaving space for your yellow orange and your red orange here, okay? If you want to pause this and start on your tints and shades for your orange, totally okay. So that way it doesn't dry out. Remember, the tint is adding a little bit of white. Keep your tints all on the same side. If you did them on this side, put them on that side. The shade is adding a little bit of black. So you'd add a little bit more, a little bit more. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and make my green. Again, we're going to want a little bit more yellow for this than we do blue. So I'm scooping out some yellow. I'm going to put a lot of blue on here, so I'm going to kind of clean my brush really quickly before I dig into the blue. Snag some of that and mix it in there. It's still pretty blue, so I'm going to add a little bit more yellow. It's getting close though. And again, we don't want this to be too much on the yellow side. because then it would be like a yellow-green, right? We don't want it to be too much on the blue side, because then that would be our blue-green. So we're trying to find a pretty good happy medium here. It's gonna be pretty dark. Turn my light on, does it help at all? Kind of. You can kind of see the color I'm working with right now. I'd say this is a solid green to go with. Slide this guy back over. I'm gonna plop my green in here between my yellow green and my blue green. Again, you could do 1 or 2 coats in here, totally up to you. And I have my green. Bringing that back over. The last guy I need to make here is going to be my purple or violet, okay? So I'm going to grab, let's see, we'll go red first. My red I don't have a lot of, so I'm going to go ahead and just add my blue close to my red and start mixing. Red and blue are both pretty strong pigments. This leans a little bit more on that warmer red side, so I'm going to add a smidge more blue, just a little bit. Don't want it to be too cool of a blue though, or of a purple. Okay. Let's see what this is looking like. The way this mixes makes our violet kind of a meh. It's not the best, but, oops, sorry. Kind of like that, okay? Feel free, that big practice one from last semester is still up on the board. Feel free to go over there, kind of reference it. It's okay if yours is a little bit different. Ooh. We just want to be able to see the difference between your violets, the blue violet, and the red violet. This one should have a little bit more red in it, have that warmer undertone. This one's going to have a little bit more blue in it, have that more cool undertone to it. So I want to be able to see some sort of difference here. I think 1 coat for this is going to be sufficient because it is pretty dark. Okay. So now we've mixed our secondaries using our primaries. You're going to do the same thing that we worked on together, making your tints and shades, okay? Only using a little bit of white and a little bit of black if you need to. Can't get it to come out. I'm going to give it the old ketchup bottle shake. Okay, a little bit of white. And just like we practiced, you're going to dip a little bit, just a little bit of white into whatever color you're working on making the tint. Make sure you separate it so you don't lose your original color, okay? And we're just going to add a little bit at a time. Baby steps. Let's try adding it to my orange over here. And I'm going to put that first one in right next to my main hue of orange. I get a little bit more white. Mix it a little bit more over here. Put in that next tint. And as you're placing it down, if you feel like you can't really notice a change, it's okay to grab a little bit more white and go a little bit lighter. I want to be able to see the difference between your values, okay? Then get that last guy going, add a little bit more white. A little bit more. There's just a little bit more. There we go. To get that lightest tint that we want. Okay. Same thing with your shades. You're gonna work your way over, just like we practiced, adding a little bit of black every time, little by little. Didn't pour any black out. Do that now. Just a very small amount. A little bit of black goes a long way, same with the white. Scoop up some of my orange, move it into its own little pile over here. Grab a little tiny corner of black, tiny corner. Start adding it in. To where it just gets a little bit darker there, okay? You're gonna add that, go a little bit darker, get a little tiny corner, a little bit more than that, tiny corner of black, add it in, put it in the second box. Same thing with the third here, okay? Do not forget to clean up, wash your brushes out, rinse the sink out, put all your bottles back into your basket, clean up any spills on your table or on the floor, okay? I will see y'all on Monday.